Hello everyone, I am Mist, and I am here to talk about the first tournament that Tier has had. So, this tournament started during March 28th of 2026 this year, and it was, first tournament. Technically there's one before, but this is the first paid tournament, and the devs want to classify it as the first tournament. So it's the first tournament. So some general info is there were a total of 6 teams for this playtest. There was a total of about 2 World of Tanks pro teams, one of them being SMAKD, which is like half of them were pro, the other half were just friends. And then Thumbs, which was a pro team that have played a lot of tier. There's Gargaldia, which was just a team from France with a couple World of Tanks veterans. And then 3 main tier central teams. One of them was the Freebirds, which basically is a team made up of people that didn't get into a team or just signed up on the open free agent list. Top tier, which was made up of some of the top players in the game, pretty good players overall. And then my team, Prototype, which at least at the time of the tournament, we were all in the top 10 of the leaderboard and a couple in the top 15. Now, the tournament had a pretty simple bracket, which, here's what the bracket looked like. So, basically, the first team to win would get $1,560. Second place would get $520. The prize pool was, total of $2,080. We're going to talk about how each match sort of went, team comps, and sort of what the overarching sort of view was. But overall, the main information we have is during match 2 against Thumbs and Gargaldia, match 3 of my team Prototype versus SMAKD. SMAKD won their match. And then match 4 of Thumbs versus Top Tier, and then match 5 of Prototype versus Thumbs for the final. The only thing we don't have is match 1 against SMAKD and Freebirds. We do not have pretty much any of that information at all because SMAKD deleted their VOD after my team went against them, and they're kind of raging at us. And then Freebirds, I messaged some of them. They don't know really they don't remember half of the game, so we're just gonna kind of wing it on that match, but the rest of the stuff we have the information on. First things first is we'll talk about the first round. So the first round that happened was, SMAKD versus Freebirds. We'll talk about that one first. So that match 1, all I can really tell you is that SMAKD won and that they basically steamrolled Freebirds. Because good players with, that is semi-pro, they're all going to play pretty well, so they did pretty well. I don't really know what their team comp was at all. They probably had some Kestrels and probably Arcs at the very least. But overall, SMAKD won both their rounds and advanced to the next round after steamrolling the Freebirds. Now, the other first round team, Thumbs, the most skilled team, against Gargaldia, the French boys. Thumbs went against them. People thought, Thumbs would win because, they won the last tournament before this. Their team comp, the team comp of Thumbs for their first round against Gargaldia, Thumbs did 2 Triceras, which are a couple alpha tanks if you don't know. They had 1 Ranger, 2 Rooks, 2 Valors, and then a Kestrel. And on the other team, Gargaldia, they had a Vanguard, a Cooper, a Valor, a Tempest, a Rook, an Arc, Tricera, and an Atlas. Quite the assortment of tanks on that team. So the match seemed to stay pretty 50-50. They got a pick off of the Cooper, and then they were able to just hold their own, and then basically just started decimating the entire other team. And they won where they only lost 2 tanks, won 6v, well, I guess 0 that would be considered. So Thumbs ended up winning that first little match. And then on to the second match, when they played... Oh yeah, first match, by the way, they played Fields. Second match, they played Ravine, which the team comp was actually the exact same thing. 2 Triceras, a Ramp, 2 Rooks, 2 Valors, and a Kestrel. Same team comp. And Gargaldia's side, instead of Cooper, they decided to do a Kestrel, and then they did 2 Arcs, and then a Tricera and a Ram. Thumbs picked off their Kestrel pretty fast, and it basically became an 8v7 for the rest of the game, and they slowly started picking off more and more of their team until they won 8-0 without losing a single tank. And that is what Thumb's first round looked like. Now up next, we're gonna go over to Prototype, my team, where we went against SMAKD. First match, what our team comp is we had an Atlas, a Fortis, this is on Fields by the way, an Arbalist, an Arc, a Rook, I played Icarus, and then we had 2 Kestrels. And we were against 2 Kestrels, 2 Valors, a Rook, an Arc, a Arbalist, and a Tricera. Overall, the game went pretty well. We picked off one of their Kestrels very quickly, and then we kind of brawled them under the sort of spaceship, and we sort of won the brawl. We did lose one of our guys, but we managed to kill a lot of them trying to go through that spaceship, which just put them back really far behind. So we won our first match 7-1 against SMAKD. Then second round, where we went over onto Ravine. Our team comp for that was 1 Tricera, an Arc, a Ramp, Rook, Tempest, Valor. I stayed on my little Icarus, and there was a Kestrel. And we were against a Kestrel, 2 Valors, 2 Rooks, an Arbalist, and 2 Triceras. We kind of just bullied them on Ravine and just kept them spotted the entire time and picking at them as one by one we kept killing them. We only had to deal with 1 death on our side, which was our Kestrel, but it's sort of how we pushed. But then we just kept getting them spotted, and so we could keep picking them off over and over again. So we ended up winning the entire match 7-1 yet again. Then we go and move over to Thumbs versus Top Tier. So the Fields match, what Thumbs decided to do was 2 Triceras, a Ramp, 2 Rooks, 2 Valors, and a Kestrel, because it seems they keep doing the same team comp over and over again. Then on the other side, on Top Tier, they had a Kestrel, an Icarus, 2 Valors, a Ranger, an Arc, a Tricera, and a Helio. Thumbs was able to keep Top Tier outspotted a lot of the game, and they just went and rushed their entire team in the midline on Fields in the Ravine. Basically every last one of them was in the Ravine, and they just rushed the entirety of Top Tier. And Top Tier slowly started getting picked off more and more, to the point where Thumbs ended up winning the game 8-0 for the first match, and they didn't lose a single tank. Now on to the second match on Ravine now. Switch back over to Ravine. Still the exact same team comp on Thumbs. And Top Tier decided to do a Cooper, a Kestrel, 2 Valors, a Ranger, 2 Triceras, and a Helio. Thumbs got North spawn, so their entire team just rushed the mountain on the side of Ravine and just kept on pushing against Top Tier. And slowly kept pushing further and further towards their spawn, and kept on slowly nipping at all of Top Tier. They killed the Lyras, or the Valors, excuse me. Thumbs won their second match 8-0 again, not even losing a single tank. And now we go on to the finals. Now the finals was against my team Prototype and against Thumbs. We were against basically the same team comp over and over again. except this time, Thumbs switched out one of their rooks for an Arc. But then on our side, we did 2 Kestrels, me as Icarus, we had a Ranger, an Arc, an Arbalist, a Fortis, and an Atlas. Now this game was quite interesting because Thumb's entire team decided to go left side of the map. Their entire team was sort of rushing towards the energy. They all stayed together as a massive group, but I was able to spot them quite often, and basically I spotted basically their entire team except for maybe like 1 or 2 people. So we knew their entire team was there, and we sort of went down and did a hunker down strategy to slowly pick at them more and more. So like we kept on getting a lot of hits on them, slowly but surely started dwindling down their health, which was a little difficult because they're double Valor that they had. And we sort of messed with Thumbs by going over to their cap and just touching it for a quick moment and then leaving, which kind of threw them off a bit. They try to have 3 people rush one of the hills we were at, but we saw it coming, so we sort of just waited, caught them off guard. And slowly but surely, we just kept on picking at them, killing 1 tank at a time. And we only lost 1 singular tank. Actually, never mind. We didn't even lose a single tank. We won against Thumbs on that first round, 8-0 against them. Either way, we sort of steamrolled Thumbs and won our first match against them. Now on to the second match, onto Ravine. And Thumbs still did the exact same team comp, still 2 Triceros. They switched the Arc back over to a Rook, and their entire team comp still the same. Our team comp for Ravine was a Kestrel, me as Icarus, a Valor, a Tempest, a Rook, an Arc, and 2 Triceros. And we were actually sort of doing pretty well against them, and not doing too bad against the brawl that we had against them. But we ended up hesitating in a lot of different areas. So because of that hesitation, a lot of their team regrouped onto that ridge line to push back on us quite a bit, and they ended up winning the brawl against us. A lot of the speculation that we had is if we didn't sort of, sit back and hesitate, we probably would have had a better chance and killed a couple more people and got a little bit more of an advantage. But because we hesitated, we ended up losing 7-0. Onto Wind Valley. Finally, Thumbs decided to do a different team comp. Team comp for Thumbs this time around was an Atlas, 2 Triceros, a Rook, 2 Valors, and 2 Kestrels. And on our side, we had 2 Kestrels, me as Icarus, a Rook, an Arc, an Arbalist, a Fortis, and a Atlas. Now, there's not much I can really say about the match except I messed up at the very beginning and died at the very beginning of the match because I tried to go up on this funny spot that was up on a mountain. I saw that the entire Thumbs team was pushing this one hill, and it kind of caught me off guard, and they kind of rushed me, killed me. I was basically surrounded by their entire team, so I just died instantly at the start of the game. Not exactly the best situation. And Thumbs just slowly, more and more, just kept on picking at our guys until we started dying, and then we were very behind on tanks. Like, it was a 7v5. Wasn't very good for us. And then we kept on dying and dying, trying to win some brawls, but we ended up losing 5-0 on Wind Valley. Which then we went on to the last match, which it shuffled back over to Fields, and we decided for Prototype we wanted to spawn north side again like we did the other time we won against them. And it was a very long and hard match. We actually managed to do really well against them. Slowly, like here and there, tried dwindling down their HP and stuff. We kept on trying, And we were doing pretty good, because we were doing a sort of hunker down strategy, and it was working quite well. And at one point I made a little mistake where PM pushed up as Kestrel, and I just happened to be activating my ability right as he spotted me, and I panicked, flew straight up in the sky, ended up dying. So seeing that the hunker down strategy that we were trying to do wasn't working, they ended up going on the wall on the right side of the map on fields, and slowly looped around to flank us, making us lose that fields match. The time limit went out. Funny thing is, we actually equaled the amount of HP at the very end. We had the exact same HP, it's just we had the different tank amounts, so Thumbs ended up winning that last match, winning the entire thing. And that's basically how the entire tournament went. Now, all of this that I'm saying, there's also an article I wrote that has like some general information on it as well that you can always look at the Tier HQ. I will also put the link of it in the description. But yeah, basically if you kill their lights, you're probably gonna win. That's basically what happened. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, that is the overview of the first tier tournament of this game.